Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our part one of the 2024 SCTEM webinar series. Just a couple of housekeeping items as folks continue to join into the Zoom invite. First, you'll notice that you have been muted upon entry. We do ask that you keep your lines muted to avoid any background noise as our speakers are presenting this afternoon. We hope there will be an opportunity for some live Q&A at the end of our session, at which time you're welcome to come off mute if you'd like and ask your question live at the end of the session. In the meantime, you're welcome to type any questions that you do have during the presentation into the Q&A session. One of our wonderful SCTEM board members will be moderating the Q&A and ensuring that we get to you during the presentation. As you noticed when you joined the Zoom meeting, we are recording this session, and we will be posting that on the SCTEM website once this session is complete. Please be sure to continue the discussion on SCTEM Discuss. If you hear some great information, want more tidbits, or are looking for additional resources, this discussion board is a great place to reach out to your colleagues and counterparts and find out more about what they are doing at their college and university. One last housekeeping item, if you could please make sure that your Zoom name includes both your first and last name. That way we can just double check everyone that registered to see who attended. So you can make that change easily on your Zoom tile. Again, just looking for first and last names, please. And with that, we're going to get started with this afternoon's webinar series. So this year, the 2024 webinar series is all about strengthening your program's toolkit. And so it's about bringing tools to you, the SCTEM member, that you can use to improve your travel and expense program on your campus. I'd like to start by doing some introductions of our panelists. First, I'll introduce myself quickly. I'm Rebecca Spanos. I am the Director of Travel and Payment Card Services at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And I'm proud to be a co-chair of the Education Committee, along with Kelsey Moon, who's my wonderful counterpart monitoring the Q&A. Thanks again, Kelsey. We'll kick off introductions with Jason Moore from Enterprise. Enterprise Mobility, recently rebranded. Jason, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, explaining your role at Enterprise Mobility, and maybe give us a couple highlights of how Enterprise helps support higher education.
Sure thing. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Rebecca. Yes, Jason Moore, Strategic Sales Director with Enterprise Mobility. As Rebecca mentioned, we have recently rebranded. Most of you know us as Enterprise Rent-A-Car and National Car Rental, but we found that not everybody knew about all our different business lines, and particularly within higher education, we help with truck rental, car share, commute solutions, and even car sales. So we're able to help higher ed in a multitude of ways. So no matter how you're moving yourself or people, or stuff, we're here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And we greatly appreciate Enterprise Mobility's support of SCTEM as one of our longstanding sponsors.
Thank you.
Next, I'll turn it over to Sabrina. Sabrina, if you could introduce yourself and give us a little bit of information about your travel program.
Hi, everyone. So good to see all these names with all these great universities online. I'm Sabrina Kronk with Vanderbilt University. I oversee, as the travel manager, faculty, staff, student, guest, group travel, and I support athletic travel. And as all of you know, that comes with a multitude of responsibilities. Someday you learn you have a new responsibility. So we are a mandated program, but just because we're mandated doesn't mean that we don't have to continually market all the benefits that our travel program offers to the university. So excited about this conversation today.
All right, and last but not least, Jeanette, if you can give us a quick introduction of yourself and your program at Michigan.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this panel today. But I'm Jeanette Frost, and I'm from the University of Michigan, and I am the travel program manager, and I'm part of a larger team that we manage the travel, expense, and P card programs. So I'm just one part of that. And so obviously anything that you do with your travel program, you need a lot of really good people to work with. And I'm lucky to have a great team to work with. And we help with managing the travel program for students, employees, lots of group booking. I think we did not understand how much we had in group booking, but there's a lot with that. And athletics is done with another travel agency, and that's managed a little bit differently, but rec sports, so a lot of that kind of, sports travel is through our program too. So it's been very interesting, and it's never the same thing every day. That's for sure.
One of my colleagues says every day is a school day, and it's true. Everything's always constantly changing, and I feel like we're always constantly learning.
Yeah, for sure.
So as Sabrina highlighted, obviously today we're talking about marketing your T&E card program to your campus. And I don't think any of us, when we got into these roles, realized that we were going to have a marketing hat and a sales hat and really be able to explain all these benefits that we're bringing to our university and to our travelers. So we're going to kick things off talking about communication tools. Sabrina, let's have you kick off. What communication tools are you currently using at Vanderbilt to share information with your campus customers?
So probably like most of you, we have our website dedicated to everything but the kitchen sink. Sometimes I go there and I'm like, am I the only one visiting? I do look at our, web's analytics to see, oh, we have some traffic, and that's wonderful, but it is a lot to consume. We do heavily rely on the Concur Travel landing page. I also have a travel customer service support box that is just for all travel related questions. Work closely with our expense and payment card team, and I am in lockstep with that team. We all cover for each other. We all, try to share the same message. And that's the same with our purchasing team, who helps me with all of those amazing agreements. But I'm also always looking for other opportunities. If I know that the global safety team is going to go out and speak, or they're going to send out messaging, or even on their website, I like to try to have a little corner of that. Just, anywhere that I can, connect all the dots back to travel, I do that. We have a lot of quick guides that we share. I'm constantly trying to send those to certain admin meetings. I sometimes get invited to those admin meetings, like in the form of road shows, and just try to be real intentional about what is happening on campus. If I can pop in and just, have a little space there, I always try to do that. But those are the main forms of communication. Also, I think I've shared, we have user group meetings for Oracle, our financial system. And we have a Concur app within the Oracle, like a button that takes us out to Concur. So I have, weaseled my way into those user group meetings. And just depending on what time of year it is, I just try to use that platform to drop some knowledge about what's going on in travel. Is it an international season of travel? Is it back to school and conferences are starting? I just try to find any opportunity to spread the word, whether it's our traditional ways or maybe some non-traditional ways.
Great. Jeanette, anything else that you guys are using at Michigan to build on that?
So we've done a lot of things in the last year, and it's almost like any idea we hear from somebody else, we're going to do it too. It's just a matter of time. But so far we have for sure the website. That seems like the place to go. But we've also learned with the website that it can have a lot of static information where that's the policy, just some basic things. And so we're actually trying to develop another web page where here's going to be the latest things that we've just released, or we're going to do, we're working on some kind of issue that people have raised and we're working on it. We don't have a solution for it yet, but that's something we're going to do. But we do have our website. We have a newsletter that comes out every other month. And so we have that. We have a Slack channel, and then we'll put that on our signature line so that if people just happen to see on our signature line that, oh, we have a newsletter, we have the link on how you can sign up for that, or sign up for the Slack channel, because some people are in Slack. That's how they like to work. And we'll have a Tuesday tip just to make that be, something that's compelling to go and check that Slack channel. So of course we use, we have team dynamics. So we have lots of videos and, knowledge-based articles on that we try to point people to. But then we also have office hours twice a month where people can come in. And I kind of think of that as, I've already read all your stuff and I still need to ask a question. I need to talk to a person so they can come to the office hours and say, show me how this is done, or I have a question about this, or you said it was going to work this way. It worked completely different. So a lot of times I learn about what is maybe working and not working with our program. So that's been really helpful. And we also have something that we've called the partner engagement program, that we are going out to some of the units that want to talk to us about travel, right? We're looking for that contact there because we're a non-mandated program. So you do not have to use the travel program or the, travel agency. And that's been really, really helpful to engage with people that way, because then they know they have a conduit to let us know about feedback, what's working well, what's really not going well. We need to change this, so that's been really, really helpful. And we've just created a dashboard for units, and that's been very, very successful. People really like to look at that. So we have all kinds of things that we're trying to do to get the word out. And people are still saying, I didn't know the university. I didn't, what is, so okay, we're going to get a skywriter next. I don't know. We're going to have to do something, but we'll do it if that's what we need to do. So
yeah.
So those are a few of the things we're doing.
I know you always think you're getting it out there in a multitude of ways and everyone's going to see it, and yet you still get feedback. I never heard about this.
Yeah. When did you tell us that? Right? When was that email out? Okay. Yeah.
Jeanette, would you mind expanding for just a quick second on the Slack platform? Because personally, that's not a technology that I'm super familiar with. Is how that operates, and do people have to opt into it?
Yeah, that's like a social media platform. And so the university has an agreement, and I'm probably going to get into gray area that I cannot explain this, but it's okay. Kind of like, if it was a Twitter or something like that. Slack is for workplace, environments. And so like I said, the university has an agreement with it. Our ITS department manages that, but you can start a channel on it. So our channel is just travel program, and then people can like subscribe to that channel, and then they'll be, alerted if there's any posts, or people can post things on there or ask us questions. So, we monitor that channel then. So it's pretty active for some groups that post a lot of things, and there's a lot of conversation. We're just still trying to grow ours. So that's where the Tuesday tip really helps, where people like to go out there and see what's the newest thing that we're trying to announce. Because if you're already on it all day with your, team, then that's just another way, right, to get a message out.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great platform, because, there's a lot of times when we need to send out information that it's just a quick little tidbit, and you don't need a big formal email to do it, but there's also not always a place to put it where you want people to be able to see it. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, it's been fun, seeing that grow too. So
Jason, from your experience, whether it's with higher ed customers of Enterprise Mobility or even any of your other many customers, any other unique communication tools you've seen universities or companies utilizing to spread the word?
Well, it seems that Jeanette and Sabrina are pretty innovative in all the tools that they're using. But I think it comes down to different consumers consume information in different ways, right? Students, faculty, and staff are all going to consume information in different ways. So what's important is ensuring you have multiple different channels to get that information out, right? So whether that is, the website, again, that's probably the more static, but policy information. I was going to mention Slack as well, Jeanette. So that's a good one. Blogs or newsletters, and then when doing different types of events, utilizing gamification, right? So we've got platforms like Kahoot or Hoopla, where you can really get folks, your community, to engage with the content, make a game out of it, rank folks. We're all a bit competitive. So whatever you can do to get them to engage. The last thing is a little bit old school, but we've had a lot of success on campuses setting up a table, right? Finding a high traffic area where those end users might be, setting up a table. Maybe we got some squishy cars, little chip clips or pens or whatever. Just an opportunity to get out there and talk face-to-face with those end users, allow them to ask questions, make sure they understand the program and how it works. So sometimes that old school face-to-face works really well too.
Absolutely. So I know Jeanette and Sabrina, you both mentioned, talking about utilizing your website. Like that's one of the places that I think we all, want to make sure we're focused on and having up-to-date information and accurate information. But at least I know for my university, it tends to just be a lot of how-tos or policy information and not so much the marketing and sales side of our programs, really speaking to all the benefits. Could you share, and I'll start with Jeanette on this one, just since I put Sabrina on the hot seat last time, what sort of marketing you do on your website and what all the different ways you showcase the benefits of your travel program?
Yeah, so that's one thing that I know we want to work a little bit more on because of, the website. You feel like that's where everything has to go because that's where everybody's going to go. So it has like the policy that hasn't changed in 100 years. It feels like along with then everything that you want to tell people that's new about the program. So we try to have like an announcement section. So that seems like, yes, please look at me here, and then we have also when you log into our, we use CTP. And when you log into CTP, there's a portal page and we'll put announcements there too. So we'll also try to say what's kind of new, what's good about the program. But then, so we'll have those announcements, but then we do have a section saying, we strongly encourage you to use the travel management company because of the discounts, because of, managing unused tickets, some of those things that are, pretty standard for all, TMCs, but then, just try to highlight some of those benefits about how the ease of ordering, so to speak, because we have a virtual credit card for airfare. So that just helps, where you don't have to do out of pocket. So it's a little bit on the sales and marketing side, just trying to boost those benefits. But, we've definitely done a lot more in this last year, with our showcase and things like that. But that's one area that we want to improve that a little bit more because it does seem like the website can get so busy with everything that you want to tell people about travel. And they're like, I just want to know one thing. And it's like, do you want to know about the policy? Do you want to know about, it's just like, so trying to organize that a little bit more about, if you're new to the university or you're a seasoned, traveler, then go and look here because this is all the things that are new. You're part of a group. You should look over here, so we have all of that. But yeah, it's there. It's all on the website. So
Sabrina, what about you?
So yes, like I said, we have everything but the kitchen sink on the website. What does drive a lot of traffic is that we do have some of our promotions with our partners like Enterprise and other vendors, where it comes into, we also have this for business travel, but you can rent a car looking through this leisure travel link. Thank you, Jason and partners. So that does drive a lot of traffic. We list like, do we have a relationship with a visa provider and we have a discount code, etc. Off airport parking. So anything like that I can do that lists the benefits that's easy that they can use for business or personal, I'm absolutely going to list it on there. And then also I do have a frequently asked questions document. I refer to, we have a lot of new staff, just like I'm sure all of you do. A lot of grad student turnover, postdoc turnover, so constantly redirecting them to that. And the first page of that frequently asked questions document is the benefits of the travel program. So, trying to market it that way, the soft policy checks, etc., the duty of care, etc., the savings with the spend for the university. I know the big travel budget, colleges and schools care about that, maybe not the individual traveler, but I'm always going to try to sell that.
Great. Jason, when we were talking, and prepping the panel here for today's webinar, one thing that came up was what's in it for me? What's in it for our travelers? And, they don't always care about duty of care. They don't always care about the discount or, everyone's got a different what's in it for me. Are there collateral or pieces of like marketing material that our supplier partners can help us with that we can post on whether it's an internet or a public facing website, that can really help sell that what's in it for me that our travelers really want to know.
Absolutely. I think your suppliers, whoever they are, whether it's car rental, hotel, airline, they're going to be eager to provide information for you that often does speak to the end user, right? What are the benefits? What do I get out of this? And so typically we recommend, having that as kind of the first forward-facing piece of information. And we recommend that you work with your account manager on the regular basis because new collateral is coming out all the time. There may be promotions, there may be just new ways to communicate information, and that's what I think is most important. And then, when it comes to the level of detail and how you're sharing this information, we always recommend making it simple up front, right? What are the basics? What are the most important pieces of information? And then linking down from there for, those folks who sign up on a website or get the software agreement, actually read all those T's and C's. I'm certainly not one of them. I always scroll to the bottom. But for those folks, they're going to want to dig in even further into the details. So I think your supplier partners should be very easily able to provide you those layers of communications and the different methods of communication as well, whether that is something you want to include in a newsletter or blog or something you want to put on Slack, or if you want a longer FAQ or more detailed document, your supplier partners should be able to provide all that for you.
Awesome. All we have to do is ask. Looks like we've had at least one question come in the Q&A. Kelsey.
Yeah. So the question in the Q&A is, do you have any tips for marketing specifically to faculty? And that question ties in really beautifully with what we're all talking about right now, right? The collateral involved, where do we put information for faculty? So I will leave it to the panel to respond to that one as they see fit.
Well, funny you should mention that. Just Tuesday, I had to compile a list of, say, duty of care situations where the value of our TMC, what could they do that the faculty or any traveler couldn't do in the event of a weather emergency or any kind of other event that happened. So I started building that list, and I kind of had one of my coworkers who, is always at my shoulder when something like that's going on in the global safety team. And I was like, hey, did I miss out on anything? Because, if you have some major event, you're not going to forget it. And then they added some, and then I might have blocked for certain reasons. But then I reached out to our TMC and I said, hey, do you have anything to add to this list? And I really was shocked at how long the list grew. I mean, I'm not shocked because that's what we do, is help our travelers, but just compiling that list. And I did take out some of the personal information because, I felt like that was some private information that they had experienced. But I shared that with our controller, who was going to share that with the dean's meeting. And, of course, the faculty senate subcommittee. And so proud of that list, so proud of why it's so important to know where our travelers are and how our suppliers step in to assist them when those things happen.
Jeanette, anything to add about how we find ourselves how do we get FaceTime with our faculty?
Yeah. So that is interesting because, like I was saying, we have our partner engagement program where I'm trying to talk with people that are maybe in the finance area or, in the procurement area, and they're looking at that. And so it's just really interesting is then when we talk with the admins part of it, we want to give them as much detail, right? So that they can have like the answer to every question in case the faculty asks them. But then if we are talking to the faculty, if we need to prepare something for them, it is that one pager. It's that like 3 bullet points, lots of white space kind of thing, and a lot of why this is, beneficial for you kind of thing. So not necessarily even your unit, just what's important for you. So, we've done things like that where we've tried to create something that we can share just at that level. But a lot of times we're still working with the admins, right? That's really the group that are going to influence the behavior, of the faculty. So we haven't quite gotten in front of faculty. We're still pushing to do that, but we definitely work with the admins a lot. So it's interesting what level of information you're going to provide, based on who you're talking to, because if it's faculty, it's going to be skimmed way down.
I know what you mean. I recently got some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sabrina.
I just did want to piggyback when I was thinking about my list. It wasn't just duty of care. It was a lot of cost savings where maybe we ran the no-show report with a certain airline and we're like, oh, this is odd. Why did this many people no-show on this flight? And our TMC reached out and was able to work with our account manager, save that department like $5,000. Was able to get those non-refundable tickets refunded. So we had a lot of cost-saving issues where we might have said, hey, what's the chance that you can work with us on these tickets? Not just in that example, but in a few others on the list. And so it's not just duty of care, it's also cost savings as well, which is really important to drive home. Might not be important, like in the what's in it for me question, because do they care that we save for another college? But that college cares, that travel cares, and they're able to send other lab members to a conference that might not have been able to go.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I got some feedback a couple of weeks ago from some executive admins about how we were, constantly getting the word out to sort of the finance side of the house, but they're the ones really boots on the ground helping our travelers, and they weren't getting our emails, they weren't getting our announcements. So I've made a point now, to the extent that I can, when we've got something important rolling out, that I'm grabbing a list of all my travel arrangers and I'm sending it out to them as well, because they're really those first people that are in line to help our faculty and our travelers. So if they can have the information, maybe we can get it actually into the travelers' hands. So Jason, I'll pick on you first for the next question. I know you mentioned earlier about gamification. We all love a great promo and the chance to win something, especially when it comes to travel and things we can use for personal travel. Could you describe, a recent successful promotion or your favorite promotion that you've ever had the chance to partner with a higher ed customer on, and how that came to be?
Sure. Yeah, there's obviously this common thread through this conversation, and when it comes to communication, it's knowing your audience and what's in it for them, right? And when it comes to travel specifically, one of the best ways for that to be answered is either via status or rewards, right? And so particularly for our loyalty program, the Emerald Club, we do a lot of different promotions with that. And whether that's from a launch perspective, when we become a new partner, getting all that status matching done and taking care of that, or through promotions. So we often will offer one of the best ways I like to do it, and we're going to talk about trade shows, I think, in a little bit, but one of the ways to drive some traffic to the booth, I was at a vendor fair a few years ago in which everybody who stopped by and left a card or their name on a piece of paper got entered in to get either a status reward or a free rental day reward. We had two promotions going at the same time. So it was exciting to see people kind of get engaged with that. They also, one of the best ways to get information out is through ambassadors, right? So, when folks would come up and say, hey, what's going on, and sign them up, I'm like, hey, go tell your friends. And so people were bringing others over to the table, talking about, how can you get status? How can you get rewards? So it's exciting when I like that promotion specifically because I got to be there and to witness it happen. It wasn't a send it out and then information comes back, but I got to be there and be a part of it. So I think that's really the best way to answer the what's in it for me.
Definitely. And of course, when people get to use that for their personal travel, it makes them very happy.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody loves perks.
Very
for
much
work
so.
or personal.
Sabrina, what about you? Any recent promotions you've had a chance to do with some of your supplier partners?
Yes, in 2023, we ran a 3-month promotion with Southwest Airlines, a tier experience. And so anyone that enrolled that met the qualifications would get a list for those couple of months. And then if they met certain markers along the way, they got a list, they earned it outright for the year. and we had over 1,200 travelers
Wow.
enroll. I was shocked. I did mention it on a user group meeting, and I got tickled when I went back into our Southwest Assist and I could see like who had signed up for it during the meeting. So funny. And so, but it kind of dropped after that. And I was like, well, wonder why no one else is signing up. This is an amazing promotion. So I kind of did some old fashioned, I sent out the email to each of the business officers and said, hey, I know you have a lot of travelers traveling over the summer. Here's a promotion that our friends at Southwest is running for us. And if it helps your travelers, great. You know, if not, just please pass it along. And I just have to say, like, a lot of them are probably using it for leisure for their vacation travel, but I did not care. It was a huge win for us for the travel program because they just saw it as a way of, oh, the travel partners with this airline, or like if Enterprise had a similar promotion, it's something we did for them that they were not aware of. And I was just so happy. Just, you know, I'd get those thank you emails. Hey, my wife is always getting status, but she doesn't have this, so I've one-upped her, you know. I was sharing with Jason, I had someone in my department traveling and they were renting a car for the first time and told me they were renting with Enterprise. And I said, oh, are you a member of their rewards program? They're like, no, what's that? And I was like, always be a member of the rewards program. It makes a huge difference between when you're getting the car and the person next to you is getting the car, who's the reward member. So I always encourage everyone to do that. And a lot of our first time infrequent travelers, they just have no idea. So thank you to all of our suppliers who always are offering these great promotions, because do it with your travel program. It is a huge win. Again, if it's for business, great. If it's for personal, that's also great.
Absolutely. Jeanette, any recent promotions to highlight at Michigan?
So we're doing one right now, which I think was really pretty smart on on behalf of Southwest, because they brought the idea to us, and we're giving to tickets to the person who is like a drawing. But what we're telling people is that you have to go into your profile, into your CTP profile, and add your Rapid Rewards account number in there, and then you can go and register to win these tickets. And so if they don't have Rapid Rewards, they could go and get that number really quickly, put that in their profile, and then enter to win. And we're like, that's a great idea, because then it kind of helps people make sure go into your portal, or go into the portal, go to the profile, enter those those Rapid Reward number in there, and then that gets that populated into their profile, so that when they book, it's going to automatically have those that number in there. So it was another way to drive people to the travel agency and go in and look at their profile, update that, and then, enter for a chance to win. So we're doing that now. We've had another really good promotion with them, and they also gave away some tickets at our travel showcase that we had last year. So they've been really great partner with us. So I appreciate everything Southwest has done. But I am interested to learn more about what Enterprise could do, because we have done no promotions with Enterprise. So I will definitely want to talk to Sabrina after this to learn more about what Enterprise has done too. So, but yeah, so that we're doing this one with Southwest right now.
Call me.
Yeah, you got his number now. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta say, similarly, we've done some promotions here, and I feel like sometimes the best response we get is when I can add sort of a personal touch to it. So whether it's, we're running an enterprise promotion, and I can highlight some of my experiences utilizing Emerald Club, whether it was for personal or business travel. And similarly with Southwest, we did a promotion with them where we were upgrading people to A-list preferred. And I was able to take advantage of that right at the beginning of the promotion, because I was flying back from SCTEM in New Orleans. And there was a dedicated, I didn't have TSA PreCheck at the time, but there was a dedicated lane for people that had that higher level of status. And I got to breeze through security. And I was like, guys, this is amazing. And so speaking from that personal experience of, you're not just getting status, but here's what it means, and here's how cool it is, and here's, what you're going to experience from it. I think also really helped sell people on those benefits and getting them to sign up. All right. So as was highlighted a few minutes ago, we did want to take a few minutes to talk about vendor fairs or road shows this afternoon. And one of the reasons we asked Sabrina and Jeanette to participate in this session was because we had an SCTEM Discuss thread a couple months ago talking about vendor fairs. And they both mentioned how they had recently had one and it was a great success for them. So Sabrina, I'll hand the mic to you to explain how yours went in the fall. And we definitely want to hear about how it was such a success, but also any takeaways that you learned from it or things you would do differently in the future.
Well, first lesson learned, be careful what you say on the SCTEM Discuss chat.
We will find you.
Well, I just have to say that thank you. Rebecca was cheerleading me through my travel fair. I've not had one at Vanderbilt in over 11 or 12 years, so I was a little bit anxious, to tell you the truth. And one of my travel manager colleagues in the industry, not at a university here in Nashville, HCA Healthcare, going to give them a shout out. They had a travel fair in the spring, and I invited myself to it. I was like, hey, can I come and crash your travel fair? Because I wanted to know what worked and what didn't work for them before I threw, one at Vanderbilt, because I wanted it to be a success. And so I did. I went to all the vendors who we have a lot of the same, account managers, hoteliers, car rental, etc. It was great to see the lay of the land. So highly recommend, if you're going to do one, talk to someone who's done it before. I had to sell it to my leadership. So I put together a case study on why I thought it would be important. I'm a nerd like that, but it just was great for me to have like a timeline and organization behind that. And then when the day came for the vendor fair, I kind of did it bare bones because I didn't know what I didn't know. And we were in a really small room, but we had such great traffic. It made my travel manager heart so happy to see my guest travel coordinators, my travel arrangers, who brings a lot of guests to campus. They're bringing the best speaker in their field, and we really want to wow them. And so it was so fun to see them making the connections, not just with the hoteliers who they talk to all the time, but to our airline suppliers, to our car rental folks, to our ground transportation. I know Jeanette did this. I'm going to steal some of her thunder. We invited our campus suppliers. We had the Office of Global Safety. We had our Move BU team there, our Office of Conferences and Events, because it was important for them to get out in front of them also. So I guess my lesson learned was I could have filled another ballroom. So maybe I'll have it in a bigger space next time. I did do a lessons learned after the fact to kind of say what went right, what went wrong, what would I do different or build on. But it just, to me, I felt like it was such a success. We had a lot of campus construction in front of the building that it was in. So that was kind of a downer, but hopefully when I do it again, it'll be gone next time. But I was just so happy to see all the connections, see people hugging our travel agents, they've been working with forever. I do meet and greets, but people can't always come to those. Mm-hmm. So it made me happy to see all the suppliers doing their thing. I didn't need to be involved. Like, I would just, kind of walk around the room, but it was just great to see all the conversations that were happening.
And I can speak to the pictures that I saw online. It looked fantastic. Jeanette, how did Michigan's go this past fall?
So it was really fun, like Sabrina is saying too, you want to do this because you know that it's really important from, a perspective of connecting people. But it was really just a great day. I think that, people that do work hybrid, then or remotely, it is kind of a nice way to come into the office too, right? And then come into a place where they're going to meet, not only their other coworkers, but then meet with those vendors that they do work with, just like Sabrina was saying. And so between our travel management company and all the other local vendors and, our internal vendors, like we were talking about, that we also had a TSA pre-check that was wildly popular so that people could just fill in all of the, they could do online the application and then just come in with the papers that they needed and, get their picture taken and have that all taken care of right then and there. That's a great service that was really popular. So I think we'll do that again. We had a lot of great swag. I even got we had these luggage tags that we gave out to people, and we put CTP's phone number in it so that at least, now when you put your name on there, it's like, oh, there's CTP's phone number right on that too. So people loved the swag. So everybody, brought swag, and then we had food. So between those two things, it really can have a lot forgiven. So probably our big takeaway was where to park. And I don't know if that's like everybody else's issue, but we definitely had to deal with that. That might be the one thing that, is like, how do you fix that problem anyway? But I thought that was probably the one thing that we heard is just, like, because there was some construction going on and it took part of the spaces that we thought were going to be available, and they weren't. But other than that, it was great. We had a great team that we worked with, and at the conference center too, because they allowed vendors to send or mail in their swag ahead of time. So I think that is kind of a nice thing to have, available for your vendors, so that they're not sending it to you and you have it at your house, or you are driving it around. So it's at the conference location. So that was a big help. So when we got there, then, we could just say, okay, here's all, your materials. And, we were able to, ask like who was interested, and then say, do you need tablecloths? Do you need any of these things to just help make it look really nice too? Because it was our first one. So we don't know what we don't know. We know what, procurement services is done for other supplier shows, but travel show, it's just a little bit different. So we just wanted it to be really nice, and it did turn out really well. And so we are definitely going to have another one, and our next one is going to be in May, and it's going to be at the big house. And so we're very excited about that because we won a very important football game.
Jason
so
already would like to RSVP.
Yeah, so we think that that's going to be fun to have that there too. So, and actually, I think the parking will be a little bit better. So, we're, already in the, planning stages of having this again, because I think just that contact with people, being able and talk to the vendor, talk to the travel agency, and just, have those relationships is just really, really important. And for me, right, I got to meet all these people that are, emailing me or calling me, and then to just, be able to shake their hand and, just really talk to them was, it was just a really good experience. So our team worked really, really hard on this, and, it was one of those, like, it was fun. So it's like, we are ready to do it again.
It's funny you mentioned the tablecloths, because we had one a couple weeks ago, and I realized like 2 a.m. the night before, I was like, all my vendors might not have brought tablecloths, and so I had to run to Walmart on my way to campus.
Right, you don't know who's got those in the back of their car already in there, or who is just going to show up and just has, because you want everybody to look nice, so you want it all to look, So yeah, little
Jason,
things like that.
I was going to say, I'm going to get to Jason in just a minute, because I definitely want to hear our suppliers' perspective on the value for them of our vendor fairs. But it looks like Kelsey's got something in the Q&A for us.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A related to travel fairs, vendor fairs, that sort of thing. One is asking to provide a to-do list in advance of a travel fair, and the other is talking about maybe sharing that case study that Sabrina put on to leverage support for a travel fair on campus. I'm going to suggest that those questions be put into SCTEM Discuss, because I think that we can, every campus that has done a travel fair might have a different to-do list or different types of support needed. So I'm going to suggest that we here on the board will put those questions into SCTEM Discuss, and other campuses can chime in as needed. So we will get those answers for you, but not in the webinar at this moment.
And
that is a great idea.
I'll be happy to share. I did have a to-do list I made that I sent to the vendors. I called it the need to know before you go. And one thing on there, Rebecca, was bring your own tablecloth.
I should have done that. So that was one of my lessons learned. All right. So Jason, obviously you talked a few minutes ago about that value of that face-to-face interaction with our travelers, but expand on that for us. Like, what does it really benefit our suppliers to meet with our travelers and have that connection?
Yeah, absolutely. Having a face-to-face connection changes the relationship between your traveler and my company, right? They may see, Enterprise or Southwest or whoever, Delta, as this big corporation without a face, right? And I think the benefit of getting your trusted suppliers on campus, meeting directly with your end users, helps bridge that connection, right? It also brings value to your program, right? That if there's an issue, I know that this vendor's connected with my institution, and I can go to my travel department and look for some assistance. So I think it only helps the travel managers to allow vendors that face-to-face time. Well, I love travel fairs because I like to talk to people. I like to talk to those end users. One of the things, if I have a suggestion, is figuring out a way to incentivize folks to come, right? I think you're getting probably some more engagement right now because folks are feeling a little bit more disconnected from campus. And it's like, okay, there's an event. Maybe I want to get in there and I want to go. By the way, if you have parking issues, we have a commute solution and a car share solution as well. I digress. But I think that those getting folks onto campus, they're excited to do that now. But continuing to show what value those end users are going to get by coming. Some will come for the swag, solely for the swag.
Empty tote bag and just.
Oh my goodness, I've had times where all of a sudden I'm standing there and I feel something at my back. I'm like, what is that? And there's people reaching behind my back onto my table to take things off. I'm like, no, you can walk around to the front and you can grab them. It's okay. That's what they're here for. So just figuring out ways to get folks to come on campus. And then, other types of similar events, lunch and learns have kind of been more of an old school way to do that. But I think that there's still room for that or virtual lunch and learns. And again, I think that's where bringing in some gamification, making it interactive. Your supplier partners are doing this on a regular basis. So engage them too and say, hey, I'm thinking about having a vendor fair. What are you seeing that's working elsewhere? What did you like about a recent one that you went to? Because we're going to these things on the regular basis, whether it's for higher ed or for some of our larger customers or industry events. So lean on your supplier partners to help you provide some of that help on, should I supply tablecloths or whatever else it might be.
Absolutely. And I want to just mention another kind of option or take on a vendor fair, which is what we recently did earlier this month, was we did a mobile vendor fair. So it's probably very similar to Michigan and a lot of other universities around the country. We have an incredibly spread out campus, and there's not a great kind of central location where we could hold an event, have good parking, have it be easy for people to get to. And we also know we have a lot of employees that are in a hybrid work model. So if we had it just on one day at one time, it might not be the day that they're on campus. So what we did is we picked out 4 areas of campus and based it on kind of our high volume travel areas. So our School of Medicine, our School of Business, our College of Arts and Science, and basically brought it to them so that we were set up for a couple hours. So it was a shorter timeline, but that way it was more centrally located, easy for them to get to. We did it in a high traffic area, so that hopefully we could catch people just passing through the lobbies of those buildings. And definitely got a lot of great feedback from our end users and our customers that came to the vendor fair, that they really appreciated that we didn't just set it up at a hotel ballroom or the conference center, which is way off campus, and ask them to come to us. We instead brought it to them, and it made it so much more convenient for them to be able to participate.
That's a great idea. And one other different type of vendor fair that I've found a lot of value in is a reverse trade show or reverse vendor fair, where you've got your different departments sitting at the table and let the suppliers move around and have those conversations. Those can be really valuable. And the level of conversation you have during that type of event is a bit higher or elevated as well, right? You can sometimes get a little bit deeper, help that department or end user understand, okay, yeah, we know you for car rental, if I'm going to talk about myself for a second. But your facilities, do you ever move stuff? You need trucks. Do you have seasonal demand needs where you need several pickup trucks during a certain period of time, but you don't the rest of the time? You know, all kinds of more in-depth, deeper conversations that can really help to let that audience understand how your travel partners are helping other departments and how they might take advantage of that as well.
So we've got about 10 minutes left in the webinar this afternoon or morning, depending on what time zone you're in. And I'd love to open this up to our attendees. And I'm going to pick on Kelsey first, because I know she has a great example to share. Just would love to hear some other unique ways that your universities have found to spread the word about your travel program, to educate your campus. And Kelsey, I know that the UC system has an awesome, awesome solution for this.
We do. Yeah. Thanks for calling me out on this one. So the University of California system is 10 campuses, 5 medical centers, 3 national labs, and we're spread across the state of California and some other states. So we are massive. What we have done is we've done a supplier town hall. And every month for 1 hour, we invite one of our partner suppliers to talk to the attendees. Again, this is from the entire UC system, so there's a huge population involved. Suppliers get to take the floor for that 1 hour. So, for example, in our 1 hour with Enterprise, we had Enterprise reps come talk to our attendees via Zoom. It was very personalized. We got to hear specifically the benefits of the UC partnership with Enterprise. There were giveaways like status upgrades, free rental days. I actually won a status upgrade and I'm really happy about that. Yeah. People really love these very specific town halls dedicated to one supplier. That way, if they have a favorite, if they are huge Enterprise people, they're going to want to attend that one. If they don't know about Enterprise, it's a great opportunity to learn. This is just a really big success for us. And we have hundreds and hundreds of people on these calls. They are just wonderful. I love them.
That's fantastic. And a really, really great suggestion that I think a lot of other universities could take advantage of. If you're on the call this afternoon and you've got something that you want to share with the group, please just use the raise your hand feature. That way we can call on you and we're not talking over each other. But we'd love to hear from other universities and colleges to hear any unique ways that you've found.
We do have questions in the chat if we wanted to address those. No, it's okay. It's okay. They were off of the topic of our conversation, so I was holding them. But one of the question is, do any of you get negative feedback from the unused ticket funds? We know that it's a savings to the university, but it's not always a savings to the individual traveler whose funds are being reused possibly elsewhere. So how do you market that program? How do you talk about it with your travelers?
Sabrina, take it away.
Yeah, I'll take that. So most of our unused ticket funds, if you held that fund, if you bought that out of your faculty fund or your travel budget, that ticket belongs to you. It's only if you have left the university or if it were a guest or a student that's no longer with us that, maybe a guest travel coordinator purchased for, is it used elsewhere. So what we did, I have an amazing data analytics team member, and I, for the past 2 or 3 years, have been sending out our unused ticket reports like an Excel file to each chief business officer, since the pandemic kind of started to end, just to encourage the use of those funds. What happened? The airlines extended those deadlines, and I just saw them sitting there. I mean, I wanted them to be used. It's money left on the table, right, for our travel program and our travelers and their budgets. So we created an unused ticket credit dashboard that gave so much transparency, so much visibility. So we have each one of our home departments or financial unit numbers, if you will, listed in there. So everyone's unused ticket credit is listed, but you can drill down to your college or school or department, down to your specific department, and see. And you can download the Excel spreadsheet yourself. And, you know, it's a heavy lift. I've done a lot of hand holding, but we moved $1.1 million in unused ticket credits in fiscal year 23. And we did a huge push leading up to December 31st when a lot of those ticket credits were expiring. I really have to tell them, oh, don't forget about Southwest. They never expire, but let's use them. Less for me to manage, right? And so we have just done a huge push on that, and putting it digitally with that dashboard has given so much transparency and really has been a game changer in moving those funds. Some of the travelers, even though they get emailed by the TMC, even though it's listed in their Concur profile, even though, you know, behind the scenes, the travel agency is encouraging them to use it, they just sit there. They'll pick another airline. So I've done a huge push and talked about it in those user group meetings. But just that dashboard was a game changer for us. So if you have somebody on your team that's great with data analytics and does Power BI, we'd be happy to talk to you about how to just get that in front of folks. So I tell people, I don't want to sit on the tickets. I want you to use them. You've already paid the money for these, so use it. And again, like I said, it makes a difference between maybe how many people in one lab can go to a conference, to expand that to more people get to travel on behalf of the university.
We do have a question in the Q&A related to dashboards, and I'm going to say that because maybe we all have different forms of dashboards and we use them for different purposes, I'll propose we also put this question into SCTEM Discuss, because we here use dashboards too, but in a very different way than Jeanette and Sabrina do. So great question. We will converse about that on the web portal.
Good suggestion.
Yeah. And actually, I was just going to dovetail on what you were saying, Sabrina, because, you know, right, people are getting the email about this ticket. And then I think sometimes they think, well, this guest isn't going to come back. I don't know how we're going to use this in my small area. I don't know how we're going to use this ticket. And then just getting that visibility to, you know, the business administrator, the people, the financial, you know, team of the college is like, yes, we can reuse this ticket in, you know, another, you know, area. We do a name change, and then we can transfer funds, you know, to make sure that everybody gets the funds back. So, and then charge the, you know, appropriate department. Just don't lose the ticket. When you think of how large your institution is, if one school or college can't use it, can't another one use it? You know, it just seems like there's got to be a way just for the good of the whole institution to use this instead of just having it go to waste, right? So, yeah, I think sometimes just that visibility just and getting it in front of the right person can, you know, make a big change. Yeah.
And definitely have to make sure that the people, you know, responsible for reusing them know how to. They may not understand that this can be done with a name change and we can transfer it, because with a personal unused ticket, we don't have those options.
And look for those opportunities for the students, for the guest. Has a faculty member gone to another university? Are they no longer there? Ask your account managers, hey, what's the chance we can convert these to UATP and help some travelers, or help an area that might not have the budget that you do, or students who need to go to travel who might not have the financial means. So have to be careful with that with financial aid, but when they're traveling on behalf of the university, it's a different story.
Kelsey, any other final questions that have come in the chat or Q&A?
Just a really quick one about the unused ticket dashboard. Does that include non-employee credits as well, or just employee?
It is any ticket that was purchased. So if it were purchased for a non-employee, a student, faculty, athlete,
perfect,
guest, anyone is included on the dashboard.
Perfect. And one just came in. Who is responsible for making sure a department that purchased the ticket is reimbursed by the department that actually uses this? We here don't do any sort of cost transfer. The ticket of the original department is lost, and the new ticket, the new credit, the new department, it's a gain for them. It all balances out in the end. But I know other schools do handle that cost transfer.
We would do a cost transfer.
Yeah, and I think that's another good thing that would be great if folks can share how they manage that in SCTEM Discuss. So as we wrap up this afternoon, I just want to again thank Jeanette and Sabrina and Jason for joining us. Really, really appreciate you guys sitting on the panel. And I know none of us feel like we're experts on this, but you had a lot of value to bring to the conversation yesterday. And we really appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to share with the group. And just a final reminder for everyone on the webinar, please be sure to visit SCTEM Discuss to continue this great conversation. Ask any other questions you didn't have a chance to ask this afternoon. And that way we can share some more great details with you there. And it doesn't even have to be just about marketing and sales. SCTEM Discuss is open for any questions about travel or expense that you have. So last but not least, don't forget to join us for part 2 of the webinar series 2 weeks from today, where we will be talking about reporting and analytics and how to use that information to increase the power of your program. So thank you again, and I hope you all have a great Wednesday.
Yeah,
Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, everybody.